Hey everybody, killerchef here. Welcome back to Skyopolis4. Today we are going to be getting into immersive engineering and maybe a bit of thermal. To get started, we need to first make a windmill to generate power for this mod. To make a windmill, we need to make windmill blades. We need 8 of those. And then we need to make the windmill itself. Then we need to make a dynamo, which takes a copper block, which then takes wire, which I've already made, and then we can make the dynamo. From here, it's really easy to set up. We're going to just build a little bit of a pole here to place it on. I think 5 high should be tall enough. Put the dynamo down, and then we just put the sail on the dynamo. And it should start spinning. There we go. And then we can place sails on it. You just click in the center block here and it'll place it, and you see it speeds it up. Now that we've started generating power, because that is generating power, we need to be able to transfer the power, which I've already gotten some wire, but now we need the relays and the connectors, which I guess we need some terracottas, so I'll be back. Connectors and the relays. The connectors can only connect one wire to it, and that's meant to actually connect to and from your power source to what you're powering. The relays are meant to and can connect multiple wires to it, and it's meant for relaying between areas from here to here and then from here to whatever machine we're going to be running. Oop. So now we just click that and click there, and we now have a wire running between it. Now that is a hot wire. We do need to watch out for that. We can get insulated wire, but I believe it should shock you. Yeah, it'll shock you a little bit. The LV wires don't shock you too much, but the bigger the wire you go, the more it'll shock you. Alright, so the windmill is a very temporary power. They want us to immediately get to the compression dynamo. But to get to the compression dynamo, we need to get the metal press because we need a gear for the dynamo. So we need to make some steel scaffolding, which I don't have this for. Oh. So steel into the weak eroding water. Interesting. And we now have the steel rods. That is definitely an interesting way of doing it. Make a couple things of it. We need a piston. We need a few conveyors as well. And what was the last thing we needed? We needed a couple more things. Redstone and a heavy engineer block. Oh, you get 4 for that. That's actually a pretty decent deal. And you get 4 of that. Okay, so we should now be ready to make the metal press. And I am going to get out the projector. I feel like I probably could get this, but there we go. Metal press. Confirm. Oh, so you can rotate it with the scroll wheel. Okay. That's really good to know. Which way is that pushing? That's pushing out that way. Yeah, I like that. We'll place that there. Confirm. Wait, no. Shift and click. Click. There we go. Alright, to build this thing, now that we have the projection, we just simply place what we see. Redstone block, and we need some conveyors going that way, and that way, yeah. That works. Works just fine. And now we need another heavy, or not another, the heavy engineer block on top. Right there. And hit it somewhere. Right there. Now that we have that up, we can put a connector on it. Put the connector on it, and then we can run wire from there to there, and now we should have a working metal press. We're not completely done though now, because now we have to make the gear mold. Gear mold is going to take the engineering workbench. And now we have the engineer's workbench. We also need the blueprint, which is not that hard to make. You just need a metal plate and some dye and paper. Pretty simple to make. We can put that in, and now we see all of our presses we can make. And to make the press, it told us we needed the wire cutters and steel plate. There we go. Now we have the metal press, and we should be able to just right-click that on there, and anything we send through there should now make a gear. So what was the gear? We need the bronze gear. Bronze gear, we just grab 4 bronze, and we just chuck it on there. Well, if I don't miss. Chuck it on there. Boom! We have ourselves a gear. I really like this mod. It's very industrial. So, one thing to note about the metal press, you used to be able to just put a hopper here on the back, and it used to just spit it out onto it, but apparently not anymore. Now you have to do an open crate. But now, it still puts it into the chest at the end, though. So that's still a nice thing that it does. Alright, well, we are ready to make the dynamo now. We need to make some flux coils. I'm going to make 10 of these just because they're not that expensive. Let's make a couple dynamos, maybe 5. Now we should be able to have a decent amount of power and be able to run a whole bunch of stuff. I do know we can make this strong creosote oil fairly cheap, and it actually produces a lot more RF. It looks like the reason why they wanted you to get into the compression dynamo is because now they want you to get into some heavy hitting machinery, specifically the crusher and the Ark Furnace. It also wants you to do the squeezer, but I think that's a little less important right now, so I'm going to bypass that and just do these and then continue moving on. I think we're going to start with the crusher, and I have pretty much everything for the crusher except for the light engineer block, which I have basically nothing of the light engineer block gathered. Is that going to be enough? It is. Just barely. So now we just follow again. Oh, it lights up. That's new to this mod. I never noticed that before. When you hold the proper item in your hand, it lights up. So what's it now wanting us to do here? Scaffolding? Yeah. And then more engineer blocks. And then fencing. Steel fencing. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, that's where the redstone engineer block goes. And then this thing is fairly expensive when it comes to hoppers. It wants 9 hoppers. So this is a little steel and iron, which ultimately steel is iron. So this is really iron intensive, but this is a really cool block. I really do enjoy this mod. It's super industrial, super big. Where do I hit this thing at? I have to break down and find a specific block. Oh! I have no idea what I hit, but it just worked. And now I have to fix this entire ground. I'll be back once I do that. Alright, so this is the big old crusher. This thing is a big old beast. I love this thing. Let's get this thing up and running and show it off a little bit. First, this is where it Oh, you can't. Okay, well that's something I wasn't expecting. That shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to just put a buffer chest down. Put a buffer chest down there. That should export directly into that chest. And then I'm going to put a pipe down. Have it extract from there. And then I'm going to put a diamond chest down. And all the stuff should, when it gets crushed, come into this chest. Then I'm going to place down a dynamo. Pull out. I'm also going to run this with creosote right now, which I have building up a ton over here in this tank. I'm just going to grab a tank, pull it right there, or put it right there, and then it should be extracting out and generating power. So now, let's grab some kind of an ore. How about iron to start? It's actually something I've kind of gone a little lower on. It's a little bit loud, but I just love this thing. This thing is pretty nasty. Now, you do need to watch out. If you go into it, you will take damage. I honestly don't really remember how much. I know when you have armor on, it really doesn't hurt you that bad. Oh, it does stop, or at least it stops moving. It hurts you okay, but you can survive it. So I'm kind of an idiot. I kind of forgot how important the squeezer actually is for us to advance into immersive engineering. We absolutely need the squeezer for the graphite rods for the Ark Furnace. If we don't have that, we can't really run the Ark Furnace. So let's work on doing that. That was a complete fail on my part. Alright, we're ready to build the squeezer. I've already got the projection down, so we can get this built up. Just like all the other ones, you just kind of build it layer by layer. Redstone engineer block. Place it there. There we go. What goes there? Fencing and a piston. Break. There we go. Should be able to now probably... Oh, middle barrel right there. I remember that from the last time I built this. So yeah, now we have ourselves a working squeezer. And the reason why we needed that is because we need to take coal coke, toss it into the crusher, and then take the dust that we get out of there and put it in the squeezer, and then we get the dust we need for the graphite rods. Alright, the coke got finished being crushed. Now we can put it in the squeezer, and we can see it working. This also has an animation. It squeezes up and down. Alright, that's just finished, and we needed 12, and to get all 12, we needed a stack and a half of coal coke. Now we'll take this over, and we'll cook it up. We'll get that cooked up there, and then we'll be able to turn those into the rods. Alright, not so fast. We have the 12 ingots, but we can't make the rods quite yet. We need to get the paper for us to be able to make the rods. To do that, we need to get the strong creosote oil, and we need to toss sulfur and lead in. I had way too much of that. And then we toss paper in, and that will consume the liquid. But now we have the electrode paper, and we can put that in and make 3 of them. We can't use these quite yet because we need to make the Ark Furnace first. That's the next step we gotta. Well, sorry guys, I had my mic muted while I was recording for quite some time. let me be the first to say I'm a dumbass. And instead of watching a silent film, let me just explain what I've done from here. I have built the Ark Furnace. Now, I'm sure you can all see. You can easily just use the projector like we have on the other two builds, place it down, gather the material, and build it. It is really expensive. It uses a lot of steel. Uh, but now that it's placed, let me show you how it works. You have the power in the back, these three little ports. They really look like plugins to me. You put the power on there, and that will charge it all. And you put your items in this slot. You can put different or other items in here that kind of mix with the recipe, and this is the output. You put your graphite rods at the top. And conveniently, like most of the items from this mod, you just have to put a chest right here, and it'll just automatically output for you. Now, the main reason for us making this was to make machine frames. You make machine frames from andesite casings cooked in here, and they turn into machine frames. That's kind of, to me, a really weird recipe that you just take an andesite casing. To me, that's pretty cheap. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm cooking up a stack. I know that's quite a bit, but I'm just going to let it run. And I'm probably going to go get something to eat and be back when it's done. And then, yeah, we'll continue and work into thermal, maybe. Alright, and we're back. Let me just grab these machine frames. They're definitely done. And let me show you what I want to do for the rest of the episode. This now finished that, and we get the book for thermal. That's fantastic. But I want to go through this line here. I want to get through the induction smelter. I'm going to butcher this, but I will try to say it. We need to get bituminous sand. And then we need to get to the centrifuge separator. That will get us the bitumen and tar and crude oil. Now, you can get crude oil this way, but I want to get it through the Pumpjack. That seems to me to be the much better way of doing it. So we will get to that, and then hopefully get to the fractionating still, and get through the different oils you get, heavy oil, light oil, and then you refine those down even further, and you get refined fuel, which this stuff is fantastic. You can use this in the compression dynamo to get 1.5 million RF. So that's more or less the plan for the rest of this episode. The first thing we need to do is make the induction smelter. Already have everything set up here to make that. And then the next thing we need to make the bituminous sand. I'm just going to call it sand from now on. It's going to get confusing with this sand, but we're not going to use it very much. To make red sand, you send granite through a millstone. Let's just toss that in. I believe I already have, some set up there, like any good cook. And then we need to set up the induction smelter. Alright, I have gotten myself a Fluke Cell. This will hold 1 million RF, so it's just basically a battery. I've also made myself the universal pipe so we can use it for anything. Made myself some more dynamos, and now let's get this set up. I think I'm going to put the cell here in the corner so I can be able to see how much power we're going to be having. We're going to put the induction smelter right there. Alright, I got this figured out. I don't know why that the universal pipes or the pipes mod pipes won't really work with this, but I'm now getting power into the induction smelter with the cyclic energy cables. So I got it working. Not necessarily exactly how I wanted, but it works. Now we need to... I've already made the centrifugal separator. Now we need to make the bitumen sand. And we got one. probably get a bunch more done up, but I do know we get some rewarded for that. Not much. We got 2. It's better than nothing. We'll put that in here, and we should run through this and get crude oil and tar and bitumen. It does take some time, so be prepared for that. But while that's working, I think I'm going to look into the Pumpjack, because really that's how we truly want to get some oil. And I'm not going to make you guys watch me get all the stuff together. I will gather all the stuff and then be back, and we will build it and look at its glory. We are ready to go. There is one thing I did forget to mention or show you. To find oil, you simply put a core sample drill down, connect it to power, and you see the rod on the inside. When you right-click it, the rod will go down, and when it comes up, you right-click it again, and you'll get a sample out. Now, I was just testing this out to make sure nothing had changed in the 1.16 update with this, and I just happened to find oil on the very first time. And it has 14,000 buckets, so that's not bad. And you can place these by shift right clicking them down, and I like to do that just so I know what chunk it's in. And if you don't know how to figure out where chunks are, you just hit F3 and G, and that will pull up the chunk borders. We need some scaffolding, steel sheet metal across the top. And there we go. I assume we hit on the redstone engineer block. Oh, the center heavy engineer block is where we click on. And there's our Pumpjack. We don't get to run it quite yet because we do need to build a spot to store the oil. Oops. But I also wanted to try to hook this up to our windmill. I assume that won't really work very well, but let's see. Okay, so let's hook a cable to there and then to there. Yeah, that's really slowly getting power. Well, if 1 won't work, maybe 2 will. Magic! Alright, no, 2 does not work. Well, if 2 doesn't work, maybe 3 will work. Magic! No. In fact, I think we're getting diminishing returns. So I think I'm gonna have to move these to being side by side instead of being right behind each other. I didn't know that. Alright, I think I'm done now. 4, that looks badass. But 2, I think that's as far as I'm gonna go. It doesn't work quite as good as I thought it, or I think it should. But it's working a lot better than it was. And yeah, I mean, that we're gonna end up by getting a lot more power. When we get more power and we get the Flux network, we'll be able to wirelessly transfer power here. It won't be that big of a deal. But we have 4, and I think it looks pretty cool. Kind of a little bit of a wire mess, but it works. We now need somewhere to store all this oil, so I'm gonna make one of these tanks, also from Immersive Engineering. It's pretty simple to make. I'm not even gonna build or use a projector to build it. You just put feet for it to stand on, put a block down in the center, and then you just kind of make a donut shape, 4 high. I believe it was 3 high, and then you fill it in, I believe. Yeah. There we go. Now we have ourselves a tank. Now with this tank, you can pipe in from either the top or the bottom, but you can only pull out from the bottom. So I'm gonna hook it up to where it is, going in at the top. I'm going to take our ender tank that has our oil right there. Fluid pipe. And we hook that up with our wrench. And we should be getting oil in there. Can I... Oh yeah, I can see it. We have over 7 buckets of oil now. Wow. Okay, that actually isn't as bad as I thought. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure we needed a bucket of thermal crude oil, so I made sure I put enough in to get a full bucket. I'm going to grab these out and pull out the bucket. I need to pick this machine up because I guess I placed it down before I got the sand, so it never checked off. So I'm going to do that, and we should get all of those missions done. I don't... Oh, there's the bucket. Now we need the fractionating still. And I believe we have everything for that. In fact, I think we have everything for 3 of them, because that's exactly how many we need. I guess we have more than 3. We're trying to get to refined fuel, which requires us to refine down light oil and heavy oil. You get those both from crude oil. So we're gonna run through the crude oil and be able to get heavy oil and light oil, and then we're gonna run those down and get refined fuel. Alright, well, I think I got this figured out. It seems to be working now, and we're getting everything going in. Let me kind of show you how we have this working. I have my crude oil going into the still. It's getting turned into light oil, heavy oil, and a chance of bitumen. That's getting sucked out. Any items are getting put into this ender chest, and I have an importer on my system hooked up to an ender chest over there, and so everything's getting sucked out of here and put into the system. The fluid is going up here and getting deposited into the 2 stills here. The heavy oil, you have a chance of getting tar out of. So again, that's getting pulled out and put into the ender chest. The light oil has a chance to get sulfur. And obviously both of those get the refined fuel. So that's getting pumped out directly into this ender tank, which I built a tank over by the oil tank, and that's where that is going now. And I have a bucket of each collected in here. That's why can I not extract it? Oh. I need to pull it out. Alright, since I couldn't take a bucket out of the still, I guess I had to get a tank of each. There we go. And now let's go get some refined fuel. Alright, since we're getting towards the end of the video, I have some chests to open up. Let's see what we got. Oh, Silk Touch and Fortune 3. That's a really nice thing to get. Another storage chest. Yeah, this would have been great earlier. So these aren't necessarily random, because I assume this came from the Ender Chest mission then. Another Botania chest. That's fantastic. Another Botania chest. And a Speedy Hopper chest. Nice. Alright, yeah, these chests were really nice. Alright, well, this video was fun. Got into a lot of big things. I hope everybody enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to have a killer day.